Hi, I'm Michael Rutloff. I'm a technical product specialist here at DigiCert, and today I'm going to show you how to install and use Certbot on Linux. For this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the Python virtual environment. It has a couple of advantages, simplicity as well as the upgradability, and plugins tend to be easier to install as well, plugins such as DNS plugins. So I'm going to install the Python environment first. Then I'm going to create a couple of folders. So let's do dear Certbot. Let's see, Certbot, and then we're going to create a virtual environment. So it's Python 3 minus VNV. Then we're going to activate it. Activate. And now we are in the environment. First, what I'm gonna do is I'm installing Certbot itself. Let's do Certbot. I'm gonna wait until this is finished. Next, I'm going to install the DNS plugin for Route 53. So the idea is to issue a certificate where the DNS is hosted on Route 53, which is the AWS DNS service. And the reason we do this is simply to allow the issuance of DV certificates, so domain validated certificates. So we're gonna install the Certbot DNS Route 53 plugin. Wait until that's finished. The first thing we need for the AWS DNS plugin is essentially a set of credentials. So I'm going to create a credentials file which goes into the AWS ones directory, and now I'm going to create a credentials file. And here we are going to enter the credentials with the access key as well as the secret, which of course I'm not going to show on the video, so I'm just going to pause it here for a sec. Now that we have Certbot and the DNS plugin installed, we're going to run the Certbot command. So Certbot itself is literally just a command line executable, which means you can utilize it by itself or of course integrate it with any other automation scripts you may have. In terms of what the command does is we say cert only, so I really just want to have the certificate issued and stored on my file system. I don't need it to be installed because Certbot itself also offers the option to install the certificate in your web server you have, maybe on the same system like Apache or Nginx. And what it actually does in the background is not so much like installing or overwriting certificates, but basically it changes the configuration of the web server to point the web server itself away from the certificate you already have, and basically just points it to the folder you store these certificates issued by Certbot in. Certbot has a variety of plugins of different web servers. There are even webhooks, etc. So it pretty much supports the most common ones. Here you can see EAB KID and the EAB HMAC key are the ACME endpoint credentials. So you have the identifier and the secret. You can see here is also the server URL. The server URL essentially specifies where the endpoint is in terms of DigiCert. That could either be Cert Central or Trust Lifecycle Manager. I forced the renew here because by default Certbot will only renew a certificate 30 or 60 days prior the expiration of the certificate. So if you rerun the certificate, or rather the Certbot command, essentially it will refuse to renew it, and you will get the message that it's not due for renewal yet. So you can force that with this switch. Agree TOS is you automatically agree to the terms of services, so you don't need to answer a question once you actually run the command. We can see here -d is the domain, so tlsguru.io is the domain. I have the DNS hosted in Route 53 in AWS. We say that the preferred challenge is DNS, so I'm going to issue a DV public certificate, so a domain validated certificate. You can see I specify what plugin is supposed to use, and I also specify here what the key type is, in this case RSA. So if I just execute a command, it will create the ACME account on the ACME endpoint. We can see it requests a certificate for tlsguru.io. I'm going to pause it right here because it will make in the back end the DNS changes, but that also means it waits a few minutes for the DNS propagation. So I'll be back once this is finished. Okay, that's now completed. You can see it says successfully received certificate. The certificate is saved in this location as well as the key. And this is the location any Apache or Nginx plugin, for example, would utilize in the web server configuration. We have the expiration and we have all the other information, and that's pretty much it. If we go into the ACME folder where the certificate is, so we can actually see the certificate live as well. So we have here the certificate or the full chain, which includes the intermediate or the root certificate, and also the private key. So if we just want to check, for example, the certificate, what it is now, we can use OpenSSL for that. We say in, then what's the certificate, for example. If we just have a look at the full chain.pam, text and no out, and here's a certificate we have published. So we can see the issuer here is DigiCert Incorporated. We have the common name from the CA, which is GeoTrust G5, so it is a public certificate, expiration date and so on. So we can see here the certificate is essentially 6 months valid, and if we go further down we can see, of course, all the other details of the certificate as well. So this is the Certbot installation and configuration using Linux, and in this case Ubuntu 24.4. Thank you.